My name is Kevin Martin. I'm coming to you from the Lake Erie Regional Grape Program, and if you aren't familiar with everything our program has to offer, one of the things we do for regional grape growers is offer soil test recommendations based on your soil test results. Earlier this year, we've decided to revisit our recommendations, and you might be wondering why an economist is or business management educator is talking to you about your soil test results. There's a couple reasons for that, but in this case, the main reason is that we've decided to change our recommendations for liming applications to adjust the soil pH for our growers, and that has to do with the efficiency of liming related to the availability of other nutrients. Basically, as potash, urea, and phosphorus prices have continued to rise over the long term, and growers have continued to need more and more as they grow larger vines and bigger crops, we've decided that the relatively stable price of lime offers a less expensive way of making those nutrients more available rather than adding additional nutrients to the soil to make it possible to ripen the larger crops. So at this time, we'll be recommending lime in the rate of typically 2 tons a year maximum, and most of our growers will see at least a need for a ton to a ton and a half if they've been following our recommendations in the past, just to get to where we want them to be now. This should actually reduce the need for potassium, for urea, and for fertilizers like DAP that growers use less frequently. As these prices rise overall, we anticipate that this will save growers money. Potash prices are actually forecasted to go down a little bit to $300 a ton. We've seen this decline from a peak of $900 a ton. So in terms of potash, that's gone up from 100 all the way up to 900 and back down to 300. This change in recommendation is probably a little late. Urea prices are forecasted to go up to around $400 a ton on a retail level, which is not the highest we've seen urea prices, but is still relatively high, particularly in the context of low commodity prices and low energy prices. So I would anticipate that urea prices and N prices in general will be very expensive once we get through this cycle of low commodity prices. So adjusting our pH now will help get us ready for that. Phosphorus prices in fertilizers such as DAP have been relatively stable this year at just over $400 a ton, are one of our more expensive fertilizers, but we use it in such low rates that most growers see that cost at around $10 per acre per year, and we can probably reduce that by about 50% with these changes in our liming recommendations. So the soil science behind why we fertilize and what the pH needs to be ideally for the vine has not really changed at all, but the financial motivations behind why we do it and what is the most efficient outcome has changed, and we've updated our recommendations to reflect that. So if you get your soil test results through us, we'll be changing those recommendations throughout 2017 as we communicate those with you. And if you get them with another lab and you bring them here, we'll be doing the same thing. I want to thank you for your time and hope you enjoy our new recommendations, and hope this helps explain why maybe they've changed, as sometimes we don't necessarily always communicate ideally with all of our growers as to why those recommendations do evolve over time, as this is probably the third or fourth major update we've had across the time of our program, and a lot of times they change for very good reasons, and it's not just that we're shuffling the science around, but we're just trying to make it more efficient for you, the grower, to grow a large crop, and that's what we're doing today. Thanks a lot. If you have any questions or comments, we've got a comment section down below. If we hear from you, we'd be happy to get back to you, or if you've got some suggestions for another video, we can answer them that way as well. Thanks a lot.